I'm just about to seal this wall up and get rid of all the dark colour. So I've done all my sanding, all my plastering and all my sanding, and now we're going to cover it. Today I gave this wall its first coat of paint. So basically from this door jamb here, all the way down to the end, the return and across the window. So that's got a first coat on it. And then this side I came back over here and I put a second coat along this wall, and that return to the edge of the window now has a second coat on it. So hopefully during the week, when I have the time, I can come back to this side, put a final coat of paint on it, and then we're done in here. Another thing that I did the other day, or completed the other day, was got these skirting boards. There's two sections of architrave varnished, so they're not nailed in yet, but they're sitting there. So I'm quite happy with that. They came up pretty good considering they were painted in a white enamel, gloss enamel, and the sander did a pretty good job at removing all that paint and bringing it back to natural wood. And yeah, I have another piece to go in on this side, but I haven't yet stained this piece yet. So we are getting there. Not much else to tell really. Paint's paint. So I'll show you a little bit more once we've got the second coat on. Okay, just to continue on from the previous video, I've now got a second coat on this wall and above the window there. Like I know when I put a second coat on this wall, it looked very patchy until it dried, and then it just dried so good, so flat. It didn't look like there was any patches, like dark color coming through. Not that there was dark color on the wall, but it just, everything settled down and it just looked really, really, really good. It looks great now. So I've given this a second coat, and I can sort of see some roller marks in spots, but it may be where maybe the paint was a little bit thicker and it hasn't quite dried out yet, because it is only 13 degrees here today, so it's not the ideal painting conditions, but you know, it does have a second coat on it. I've also gone around and had a really good look at all of the cornices, the bottom lip of the cornice, and where I thought maybe I got a little bit of grey paint on the bottom of the cornice, I've taped up the wall and repainted it white. And sorry if there's glare from the light, but yeah, that's just the way it goes. Had to do a slight touch up there, another touch up just here, and one round on the corner. Here, the blend between the two colours, between the this is what we call this colour's holding hands. It's sort of like an olive. So if we just say it's olive, it's olive. So between the olive and the grey, right on the very, very edge here. I've masked up on the opposite side now. When I painted this, I had it masked up on this side. Now I've switched it around and masked up on that side to try and get it really super square there and clean, a very, very clean line. So I'm hoping that I get no bleed through and everything's, you know, really, really nice there. Again, some more touch-ups here. On this side, it tended to be more the wall, where I hadn't taken the paint all the way up to the cornice. Where this side was completely opposite, this was more cornice. So I've also just adjusted the line as well between the two colours. I was slightly out, it was leaning to the right a little bit, so I've gone and realigned the tape and gone over it with the goanna. So this colour's referred to as goanna, and I've touched that up, and I've had to make a, I know you're not, this is going to be really dark, but I've had to make sort of a little bit of a let's say optical illusion to draw your eye away from it. Now there is a bit of a kink in this wall. When it gets to the edge of this door jamb, it's as if the plaster sort of then tapers in a little bit. I don't know why, it's probably due to house movement, but the cornice never ever sat completely flush against the plaster, so therefore I used a gap filler and filled the gap, which made the bottom of the cornice very wide. Well, I don't want it to be very wide, I want it to be the thickness it should be. So what I've done is I've put some tape on there, and I've sort of got some of the goanna and painted the goanna on that gap filler. So I'm hoping that when you visually look at it, you won't pick it up. You won't pick up the fact that there's a gap there. The darker colour will actually absorb that gap, where with the white, because white's very clean and very sharp, you saw the thickness of the bottom of the cornice and the gap filler. So hopefully the darker colours done it justice. We'll do it justice. A little touch up here. What else? Yeah, so this side I'm extremely happy with. This has turned out so good, just like this part here. The paint is just so smooth and flat on the wall. I don't know what they did when they mixed this colour, but it's absolutely turned out brilliant. It's just gone on so easy. It's looked really bad when it's gone on, but it has dried exceptionally well. I had one little issue here where I stripped a little bit of paint off the heater, but I'm lucky I still have this colour in the shed. This is a glossy enamel. The front of it's powder coated, but this is actually, I did this with a spray gun. So I've got to touch up this little bit here where I've peeled a little bit of the paint off, But all the controls are back on the wall. They all look really clean and sharp. So, you know, if they haven't had a clean, that's normal. Up here, as you can see, I've taped up the bottom edge of the cornice so I could take the grey paint all the way up to the edge of the cornice. Sorry if I repeat that word a lot of the time, but this is what we're actually doing the video about. So I've got nice clean lines all the way around. Everything down here looks really good too. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to change out this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint is an original one from when the house was built back in 1982. The only reason I didn't change it out was because it has a mech switch in the middle of it. And this mech switch, mechanical switch, actually is the on-off switch for the power supply that goes to the fan for the heater. Now I simply didn't change it out because of what it was. Any PowerPoint with a mech switch in it is not cheap. So, but you know, I've done the whole house. I've replaced all the PowerPoints in the entire house. So this is the only odd one where it doesn't have a clip-off front panel, and it is starting to, you know, with age, it's starting to sort of, it's not crisp and white. So I am going to replace that. You know, there's a big difference if you look at the white of this timer, or even the timer that's plugged in there, and you look at the PowerPoint. There's a big contrast there. So I want it all to be nice and clean. What else? So yeah, this PowerPoint was changed out. That one was changed out. The one over there was changed out. Actually, I have just spotted a spot where I have missed some paint. So there's a spot just up here. Don't think the camera's going to pick it up, but I now know that's there. Yeah, not much else to tell. As you can see, I got rid of the old entertainment unit and TV out of here. So the TV's out underneath the carport, and the entertainment unit, just for now, is sitting here in the kitchen. I just wanted a little bit more room to move today. So now I've got to work out when I'm going to cut that down, and yeah. But I'm not prepared to start on that until I get this wall finished. And then once I know this is finished, then I can start playing around with other things. So, although the place looks like an aviary, I can assure you it will not look like this once everything goes back. So it's time for change, and yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a different look to this living room for the first time in 10 years. Because that's how long I've had my old boy. He's 15 years old. I got him when he was 5, and he's been with me for 10 years. So maybe 11 now. Maybe 11. So their spot's always been over in the corner here, and they'll probably stay in here, but I'm going to downsize their play set. You know, he's getting sort of to an age now where he doesn't play on a play set. The girls are 5 and 6 years old, so they're sort of not playing anymore. They prefer to just sit. So just their rings on that pole there, that's enough for them. I'll still put a perch or something on a table, but just completely chop that play set in half. You know, even a third of it. Just need to use a third of it. So they don't need much these days as they're getting older. So they've got plenty of things to do inside their cage as well. So yeah, we'll just need some stuff up and turn it back into a living room. So I'm going to leave it here, guys, and I'll show you how everything turns out when everything's back in place.